Hello and very warm welcome to Dr. Zia Ahmed YouTube channel. In this video, we shall be very shortly discussing about Chapter 12, Part 1 of The Twilight in Delhi by Ahmed Ali. This chapter is really very interesting because it goes to show us what really Muslim culture was inside Delhi, and that has been brought to light in this chapter through various means. And therefore, let us have an entry into it. In this chapter, we see that Asghar is asked to read a Milad, and he's very much ready for that because he has got a news that his father, though very angry at his relationship with Bilqis, has little bit consented, not totally altogether, and his mother has met the mother of the girl, and the mother of the girl has agreed altogether, and that is why a way of requesting, thanking, and praying to God and God that has been talked about in this chapter. So that is why the people have decided to have a Milad. I think most of you people living in Pakistan are well aware of Milad, that it is celebrated in praise of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. And therefore, the same thing is going to be done in this chapter. And Asghar is the main figure to read Milad in this chapter at that time when it was the time of early 20th century, that is 1920s, when this thing was going on, at the time when the British were the colonizers. They were holding the reins of the country, and Mughals as kings and rulers have been expelled. And in the streets of Delhi, Islam was alive, Muslim culture was alive, and it was thriving in the same way as it used to be. So, Milad is going to be celebrated in this chapter number 12. And Asghar is the person who will do all that. So, for this purpose, Asghar has to read some verses first of all from the Holy Quran. He, in a very sweet way, recites these verses of the Holy Quran, and then he begins to sing the Naat Sharif also. And after that, he tells two or three stories in this Milad, as is the tradition. One is the story of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, about his marriage with Hazrat Khadija, rahmatullah alayh, and how that marriage was done, what was the purpose behind that. All the story is talked about in this chapter, not told to us, but the writer says that this story was told by Asghar. And the second story was about the event of Miraj. As all of us Muslim people believe that Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, traveled towards the heavens in order to perform different orders of God to fulfill them. He went there and ultimately came back also, and that is called Miraj by most of the Muslim people. And therefore, that event and its story is also told by this Asghar, and the writer tells us that these two stories have been told by Asghar. All these things are very holy for the Muslims. So that is why before performing this action, a lot of preparation for Milad was made. For example, the place was washed with water, and it was purified. And after that, at a very beautiful space, white sheets of clothes were spread in order to give a color of purity. And not only this, the fresh flowers of jasmine, they were brought and they were put there, and some agarbattis were also burning there. So it was a kind of environment which was created specially to reflect the regard and respect for the event which was going to take place. And in such a place, Asghar is there performing all requisitions, that is, reciting the Holy Quran, singing the Naat Sharif, the praise for the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. And after that, he tells the stories too. And when the stories end, at the end of all that, what Asghar does, Azan is to take place. Of course, at the time of evening, this thing has happened. This event has taken place. Before Namaz-e-Isha, these people need to complete that. So that is why everybody stands up and a long praising song is sung in the shape of anthem, that is religious anthem in praise of Allah and in praise of Prophet, peace be upon him. And this thing is completed before the Isha prayer Azan comes out. And before ending the whole activity, Asghar and all other people pray to God very humbly, very devotedly, that everyone's wishes may be completed. Asghar's mother, Asghar's sister, and Asghar himself, they also pray not only the praises of God, but also the praises for the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. But then they also tell their wishes, what they want. Of course, we know what Asghar wants, and that for that purpose, he is also praying and requesting very respectfully at this moment. So all these things end all together in this chapter 12, and we can summarize the chapter by saying that this is the very chapter, or this one of those chapters of this novel, which goes to show that this novel is not only about politics but also about Muslim life, the way the Muslims were living in Delhi. It goes to reflect the traditional, the modern, and the other cultural aspects of Muslim culture in Delhi, India of that time. It also talks about the religious activities of the Muslim people, how much devoted they were, and how they wanted to beg to God for the fulfillment of their desires and wishes. And after that, it also goes to talk about the Muslim Mughal culture, which held it for a very long time in the streets and mahallas, and ultimately it started to disappear. But before that time, it continued to be there. So that is the whole discussion about chapter 12. Especially, one should keep in mind that this chapter is to remind us once again that this novel is about the Muslim people, their culture, their life, their religion, and how they were living under the colonial rule of the British Empire. So that's it from me for this day. Hope to see you in some other video. Thank you for watching.